Ready, set. Now, right now, just take a little snapshot of your mental state right now. Are you excited or are you terrified? What's about to come next? That's what we're going to talk about this morning on the live stream. How are you doing? I'm Bill DeWeese, professional voiceover talent, which is what I've been doing for this year. 2025 will be my 20th year as a full-time voice actor. I started in 2005, late 2005, early 2006. So we're getting close to that. I've been coaching for 15 years. The author of this book, well, a couple of books on voiceover. This is my latest, Get Paid Using Your Voice, Get Found, Get Heard, and Get Hired. There's a link in the description. Actually, I don't know that it's in today's video, but it's in hundreds of the videos that are posted on here. And there's what, like 1,400 videos. So if you want to get the digital download of that, I encourage you to do that. Excuse me. I need more coffee. How about you? What are you drinking this morning? Freshly ground Myers Michigan cherry, my absolute favorite. Well, today I want to talk about something. And well, first of all, before we talk about it, I want to promote something because they tie in together. One dovetails into the other. This coming Tuesday night is a very special training program with Dr. Bana Parker, who is a social psychologist. She's a high performance corporate coach. And what she's going to do is help you to have the proper mindset to deal with the things, when it comes down to it, the things that the problems that we deal with are not equipment. It's not noise outside. I mean, those are hassles. It's not mouth noise. These are hassles. They're inconveniences. What we deal with is happening between our ears and the gray stuff. That's where the battle's won or lost. Really from most anything in life, certainly for voiceover. And I've always said, once you get this right, everything else just falls into place. So it's a really important program. I hope you'll be able to, I hope you'll be there. I've got a link below in the description. And we've limited attendance to 100, the first 100 people who sign up for the live event to make sure there's plenty of time for people to interact, ask questions, that kind of thing. So I hope you'll be there. And that springboards me into the topic for today, which really the thought was spurred not just by the upcoming training, but by Beth, who made a comment on the channel. And I wanted to share that with you and then talk about that for a moment, because I've got a feeling, and I'm pretty confident we all deal with this. Thank you, Bill. I feel like I'm at the edge of a pool and I'm scared just to jump in. I overthink this whole thing and have analysis paralysis from trying to get everything perfect instead of kind of learning as I go. Thank you for the opportunity for next week's mindset training. I have my seat for it. Beth, and I'm glad you do. And thanks for the comment. Part of and maybe the biggest part of my job as a voiceover coach is to push people beyond their comfort level. And I think maybe the best thing to talk about this morning is my own personal experience, because it's easy for us to get so into our head that we think we're the only ones who deal with any of this. We think that especially we look at people who are successful in voiceover and we think, well, they've got it together. Well, let me just assure you, they don't. We don't. We all deal. We've learned to deal with it in a different way, and we've pushed ourselves to a different level. But it's the thing that you're talking about, the fear, the anxiety of actually doing it. It's something that everybody deals with, not just in voiceover. And this is something you need to understand. Any area of growth in life requires you to take a leap into sometimes the complete unknown, but certainly into territory that you're not familiar with. If we say no every time we're met with an opportunity because we're afraid, then we stunt our growth and we cease to grow. And, many of you guys have overcome a lot of things, and you're really, you've really pushed yourself down the road and have reaped the benefits. Some of you guys have not pushed yourself much at all. And therefore, the level of accomplishment, your level of fulfillment with what you've done is not very high because you've always said no instead of forcing yourself to move forward. Oftentimes when somebody asks me about or talks to me about fear, what they're hoping is that I've got a silver bullet. I've got a magic pill, something that I can say or do that will cause that fear to disappear. And I don't mean to disappoint you, but that's not how it works. You can't walk around fear. There's only one way through it, and there's only way to the other side, and that is through it. In other words, you can't go around it, you gotta walk through it. And, it's not an easy thing to do, and I think it takes a strong passion for what you want to do to get there. So let me share, and I'll try not to make this TMI, but I'm hoping that by sharing some of my own journey that it'll give you hopefully it'll encourage you, and you'll say, "I didn't know he was so screwed up." If he can do this, maybe I can too. And that's not the point, but the point is to help you to understand that this is something that everybody at some level has to deal with. Early on, I was a very goal-oriented person I remember when I was like 13, 14 years old. I knew what I wanted to do. And I had really strong desires in several areas. I wanted to work behind a microphone. I wanted to work in radio. That was big. Music. Um, I learned. I had a friend teach me how to play guitar when I was a kid, and from there I just wore out my records, my vinyl records, learning how to play songs that I liked. I would just play it over and over and over and over. My old records are so scratchy just because the hundreds, if not thousands of times I would play these songs and these licks over and over again so I could learn them, on the guitar. Um, and then those opportunities, as I became older, it was no longer a dream, it was an opportunity. And so I had to make some pretty, I had to make some decisions as to what I was going to do. One of the things that helped me, and I would say this is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done, was when I was a freshman in college. I was recruited to. There was a company called the Southwest Company out of Nashville. They're big. They're huge. They're big. They're still around. Big global organization. They have several different divisions, but they sell books and they have college kids do it door to door in the summertime. I was a very shy, very quiet, afraid of his own shadow kind of kid growing up. And, I knew I needed to do this. I didn't really want to do it, but I knew that I needed to do it. I needed for the money to go back to school, and maybe that was really the overriding thing, but the other was I knew it was a chance somehow I understood, and I'm not even sure how I understood, but I knew that there were some things that I needed to do in my life to get to where I wanted to go, and this was something that I needed to do. I needed to do something that scared me to death, and believe me, it scared me to death, and for good reason. Knocking on doors 13 and a half hours a day, 6 days a week in a town you've never been in before, by yourself is a terrifying experience. The things that people say, the things that people do, a lot of weird stuff happens when you're out doing that. But I survived it and I made a good deal of money. But mostly, I realized that I could survive. I gained a layer of confidence doing that. Um, and then when I got into college, I think it helped give me the courage as I get further into college to do some of the things that I wanted to do with music. I had a real passion for music. As I told you, I'm kind of self-taught guitar player, and I'll never forget. I was asked to sing and play in a coffee house when I was in college. The first time to perform, I was absolutely terrified. I mean, I was terrified, and I'll never forget it. The song that I played and sung was written and performed by the great Canadian songwriter Gordon Lightfoot. If you could read my mind, that was the very first song. And from there, people started asking me to do more of that stuff. And I put a band together, and for the next 20 years, almost every weekend, I was out with my guitar, either by myself or with my band. We were loading up a U-Haul and traveling all over the state of Ohio. One of the things that people told me during that period of time, and also when I worked in broadcasting, and working on air, and I did thousands of public appearances, stood in front of I remember, like, hosting, an Amy Grant concert, emceeing, like, 10,000 people. I remember doing a concert once with Randy Travis where part of my job was, like, during midway through the concert was going on stage and sitting down and interviewing him as part of that. And that was just there are thousands of these kind of things. And the thing that people would always say to me, whether it was something where I was doing something for a handful of people or maybe I just sung for like thousands of people, they always come up and talk about and comment on how cool and confident and comfortable I was and how much they admired that. What they didn't realize that anxiety had been my close companion since childhood. And, of course, back then, people weren't as attuned to mental health, and I didn't have a name for it. I didn't even know I just thought it's just the way everybody was. I didn't realize this constant nagging dark cloud, this feeling that, not knowing when the next shoe was going to drop was going to happen. I just thought that was normal. I didn't know that. And I remember times being up on a stage in front of a lot of people where I'm playing and would have a panic attack, literally have a panic attack where I would just break out in I would just I would soak my clothing with sweat. I would just break out in sweat. People probably thought I was just, really into it and just maybe that's why, but it was panic. And it didn't but I nobody ever knew it. I was always able to play through and do things, and even though they might have wondered why, I was having such a physical reaction to it, it didn't affect what I did. I just point being, I there were these barriers and they were hard. They were hard. They continue to be hard. But the joy of doing it far outweighs not doing it. And when you don't do it, what happens is it really amplifies this negative feedback loop you have in your mind because you just convinced yourself why you're a loser. That's what it feels like. But when you do the thing, when you get ready, get set, and you take a leap, and you think you're going to die when you do it. You're so afraid. The feeling of accomplishment afterwards, the confidence that it builds, will put you on a path that you will never regret. I don't know if I'm articulating this clearly enough or not. And I'm not trying to make this about me. I just want you to understand that everybody has to work through their stuff, that this is not easy for anyone, but you can do it. And the biggest hurdle is going to be, again, what's going on in here. But what I've learned over the years is that every fear I face has always been a paper tiger. I'm not saying it hasn't scared me or that it doesn't continue to scare me. It does, but I know now from experience, it's not real. I know that, and believe me, and not that I won't make mistakes. I've embarrassed myself more times than I could possibly count in voiceovers. And I've shared some of those experiences with you, just boneheaded stuff. But I know now that I can recover, and my clients really don't care. They just don't, because everybody's dealing with stuff. So again, Beth, I want to thank you for the comment, and please forgive me if I've overshared. I don't know that I've ever talked about this in public. I don't think I ever have talked about this in public before. But now that my time's winding down, I think it's important to share with you the things that will most benefit, hopefully, and most help you. And I hope that as you deal with those things, you'll just remember, okay, Bill practically killed himself doing doing this mentally and emotionally, and it paid off. And it paid off. Maybe I can do it too. Maybe if you take away nothing else, do that. And when you come Tuesday to the training, you're going to get tools. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just sharing my story. I'm just sharing with you what I didn't have a therapist. I didn't have a psychiatrist. I just I really didn't have anybody to talk to about it. I say I didn't. I'm sure there are people who would have talked to me. I didn't. I just fumbled my way through it, you know, figuring it out as I went. And I just want to let you know that you can do it too. That's the thing. You can do it too, but you've got to do it. And you've got to feel the fear. You've got to embrace the pain because it's all part of it. But you'll survive. You will survive. Let's see who we've got in the live chat. If you haven't checked in yet, let me know where you're watching and listening from. Today, we've got Rob in Loveland. What's going on, Rob? Joe in the UK. Good to see you. John checking in here on Hump Day from Denver. We've got Eddie in San Antonio. Edward in chilly New York City. I bet it's more than chilly. Here in Chicago, it's like what? 3 degrees? Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Let's see here. Celeste, hope you're doing well in Newark, Delaware. Jim in Memphis, Nephi in Knoxville, Phil in Tokyo. Hey, Becky, what's happening in Michigan? I say ready, set, go to myself all the time to get me to move. Sometimes that's all I need is that initial inertia. Yeah, yeah. Once you take the first step, it's amazing how much easier everything else gets. Sarah, how are you doing in Kentucky? GS in Longview. Heidi checking in from Southern California, the high desert. Desert sounds good to me right now, to be honest. Rick in Minnesota. Patrick, good morning in Maryland. I'm on a 6-month plan to take that leap. All right. John in Rhinebeck, New York. Tanya in South Philly. Rusty in the UP of Michigan. Coach Ariel says, great to be awake with you all in calmy, smoky California. Ready for Billisms. Ariel, I hope you're doing well, and I hope everybody you know is doing okay. And our thoughts and prayers continue for those of you on the West Coast who are dealing with just what horrific thing that's been going on. Ron says, good morning from a tepid 21 degrees, Grand Haven, Michigan. David in Hamilton, Ontario. Zach in Fargo. Terry in Falston, Maryland. Good morning, Galen in Carborough, North Carolina. James in Deming, New Mexico. Denise, hello to you on Long Island. Johnny in good morning from Trepidation, Florida. Ha ha. Aaron says, happy hump day. Columbia, Missouri. Kirk, Greenville, South Carolina. Amisha in South Carolina. Wayne in Port Orchard, Washington. Doug in Greensboro, North Carolina. Holland, Latvia. All right. Our international audience checking in. Love that. Gretchen in Adrian, Michigan. Andrew, how are you doing? Kathleen in Wyoming. We got another Buckeye checking in. OH. Jim, how are you doing? Tracy in Rochester, Minnesota. A heat wave is on the way. Man, wouldn't that be nice? Johnny, green tea primer leading to dark roast coffee. Daisha, very good morning from very cold Buffalo, New York. Ariel says throat coat. Oh, everybody's sharing what they're drinking this morning. Got it. Throat coat. I live down the street from traditional MTs. Jolie, happy Wednesday, Bill, and all. It's so cold here in Minnesota that my front door froze shut. Could not get it open. Yeah, it's that time of year. Ariel, drinking in the wisdom. David in Colfax, California, rocking an awesome day. Hope the same for you. Jerry in Dallas, Sandra, Dallas, Fort Worth. Vince, still chilly, Palm Bay, Florida. Beth, looking forward to next week's training. John says, good morning from Memphis. Trying to get over being sick to do the last 10 days. Thanks for your contribution. Good morning from chilly Austin, says JR. Happy hump day. Loretta, good morning to you from very cold Crete, Illinois. Hey, Mary in New Jersey. Sandra, it's 4 degrees in Worthington, Ohio. I was experiencing fuzzy playback, bought a new headset, didn't change, decided to have my heating checked. Bingo. My recordings are crystal clear now. Fantastic. Love that. Andrew, fear, false evidence appearing real. Belief in ourselves is on the other side of fear. Yes, indeed. Alex, good morning to you in Utah. Jim says, the Southwestern Publishing, my brother sold encyclopedias for them in Dallas. Yeah, there's a handful of us out there who survived those brutal summers. I'm pushing to grow in voices by using an American accent. In your experience, what state accent is most wanted? Yeah, sometimes people ask for like Boston or New York, which is very distinct, or a Southern accent. Timothy says, good morning from Altoona. I think my main issue is the startup cost of equipment. You know, I got started with $300. I was talking about this yesterday with somebody. People think you need thousands of dollars. You don't. You can use any computer you've got. It's going to work fine. You can buy a cheap mic. Get like I started with a Marshall MXL microphone. You can buy them used for like $50. And set up in your closet. That's what I did. $300 startup. You don't need a lot of money to start. Let's see here. Corey in Whitehall, Wisconsin. Sarah, my husband sold books for Southwestern when he was in college. Sarah, give your husband my regards. Great. I have a world of respect for anybody who did that. Especially if they completed a summer. It's brutal. It's brutal, but it's a great experience. Nancy in Yankton, South Dakota. This is great stuff. VO aside, so glad I joined today. Thank you. Marla, good morning to you in Texas. Chris, great lesson. Thanks, Chris. It's GM from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Earth Milky Way. Okay. David, getting ready to get ready. Beth says, your comments were perfect. Harold, to know is to do. You are correct, sir. GS, thanks for sharing this, Bill. Hold on a second. Let me back up here. Oh, a bunch of new comments just flooded the stream here. Let's see here. Beth says your comments were perfect. Thanks, Beth. Harold, let's see. Detroit, I bought all the equipment I need to get started, but I don't have a room built. One step at a time. You don't need to build a room to do that. I mean, you can build a room, that's fine, but don't let that stop you from getting started. Andrew, great story and inspiration for all of us. Hey, Bill, forgive me if you've talked about this already. Okay, yeah. I don't have time for questions today, but please feel free to bring your questions back on Q&A Friday, and I'll get to as many of those as I can. I'm not trying to put you off. I just don't have time to get into those today. Kristen, good morning. Thanks for sharing. John says, thank you for this topic. I continually go through this, needed to hear this. Icy Bloomington, Indiana. Mike says, Bill, thanks for everything in Oak Island, North Carolina. Darren says, thanks for the daily voiceover affirmations. I keep running into obstacles getting started, and a lot of it has to do with my attitude and impatience. Thanks for keeping me focused. Ariel says, needed all these reminders today as I started at the edge of the VO cliff looking finally ready for the leap. Thank you. Sandra says, hi, Bill. Big hello from the Bahamas. Oh my gosh, what I wouldn't give to be in the Bahamas right now. Juggling VO work and full-time hospitality job. Sandra, thank you for checking in. I appreciate that. Ariel encouraging everybody to hit that like button. Thank you for that, Ariel. Hey, Mike, good morning to you in Grants Pass, Oregon. Joaquin in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Wally says, a life of face into the wind has taught tenacity, never give up, and keep creating your future. Mountaintop, Virginia. Yes. Jason, good morning from Kearney, Nebraska. Thank you for helping me take my leap. Let's see here. Who have I not said hello to? Somebody just says, I've been secretly watching you for about 7 years. Well, thank you. And thanks for coming, stepping out of the shadows and checking in on the live chat. I appreciate that. Joyce says, hello, everyone from cloudy Southfield, Michigan. It's 16 degrees. Hey, Stephen, thanks for checking in today. I appreciate it. Guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, you can't walk around fear. There's no recipe to avoid it. You can only walk through it, and you'll only be better for it. I hope you'll take my word for that. Take the leap, get moving, get started, get signed up for the class on Tuesday. Link below in the description. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon.